Hello, welcome to our Pathway to Success video series. My name is Georgina Housden. I'm an Associate Director here at Danos Group, and I lead the Compliance and Financial Crime desk in the FinTech space. Today I've got the wonderful Sara with me. If you could start by telling us a bit about your journey to date.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, great to be here. I'm now Chief Risk and Compliance Officer at IFX. Before that, I've worked in a few different compliance and risk roles in various parts of financial services. World first for a long time, again, e-money payment space, and then a little bit into asset management, and joined my current role about 18 months ago. And I'm responsible there for all second and third line functions for the group.
Brilliant. And so how did you some people fall into their role, right, in compliance? I mean, was that sort of the case for you, or did you have more of a sort of structured career path for you from university?
No, absolutely. I fell into it. I think it was a complete accident. So A-levels, I did French, German, Spanish and physics. But I, against the wishes of my teachers, I didn't want to study modern languages at university. So I really wanted to do a science subject. So I chose to study geology at university, which was absolutely fantastic, loved it. Absolutely, it's going to be my career for life. Left university and did a graduate training program for a building products company. So I was moving around different parts of the company, so some with finance, some with estates, environmental management, and driving around all over the country to the various different sites. I was there for a year, and at the time my brother wasn't very well. He suffered from depression, so I chose to leave that job and take a few months off to spend some time with him during his recovery. And I best decision I ever made. We had 3 months at home. We did loads of things, go to the beach, go to Torquay, fix cars. Some of my best memories are those 3 months of being fun employed.
Yes.
Because it was a deliberate decision to take that break. And then after that, I did a few different geotechnical engineering contracts, which again was great. Got to go and do your kind of London Underground safety course, and you get to go to some places that people don't normally go to. But for me, the money wasn't fantastic, but you do it because you love it. Sure. I remember there was one particular time I was trying to measure subsidence near the motorway around the M25, and to do that, there was some equipment in the ground, and you had to go around and basically take the measurements. And this one day, this is the day that I quit, by the way, I went into this field, and the equipment is protected by these giant kind of concrete tubes, which are quite high, and you have to climb over the outside and then down the inside with all your equipment. And this day in particular, there was this really high concrete tube upright, surrounded 1.5 foot of cow pat. It's liquid. And it was really cold, and I'm not that tall, and I had to wade in, and I couldn't reach the top of the tube to pull myself up. So I had to do several kind of run-ups through this sea of cow poo to get down. And got out, and then take off your overalls by the car. And I remember that moment of freezing, thinking,
smelly?
Smelly, freezing, and not making any money. So I remember sitting at home and just googling graduate jobs in Battersea, because that's where I lived, not expecting anything to come up. And out popped this job on the road next to where I was living at the time for this company called World First that I hadn't heard of. Wasn't interested in financial services, didn't know anything about foreign exchange and payments, but I thought actually it's on the road, I'll just stick my CV in and see what happens. Went for the interview, and they were very nice. It was in a news house in Battersea, and I thought, I'll just do this for 3 months, just for 3 months while I get my next real job. And basically I ended up staying there for like 13 years.
That was your real job.
That was my real job, but it took me quite a few years, I think, to admit that. So that was on the operations side, first of all. The company grew, expanded globally, we got some different licenses and different products, and there was an opportunity to do a project in compliance. And to be honest, up until that point, I wasn't particularly interested in compliance. But I thought, oh yeah, it sounds like an interesting project, I'll give it a go. I did this project which was about false positives on a monitoring system that was built in-house, so not any of the wonderful vendors around, but yeah, it was built in-house. So I did this project and I thought, actually, this is really interesting. And then they said, well, do you there's a role in compliance if you want to stay in compliance? And I thought, oh yeah, okay, I'll try this out. So then I moved into compliance there, various different roles, company grew and grew.
What particular challenges have you faced in your career, and how did you really overcome those?
Well, I think there's always challenges and opportunities in life, and everyone, you get road bumps all the time and you have to change your approach. I think for me, the biggest challenge looking at my whole career to date, because I still haven't decided what I want to be when I grow up. So I talked a bit earlier about taking some time off to spend with my brother who suffered from depression. So unfortunately, a few years later, he relapsed and he was suffering again, and that didn't have such a positive outcome. So he died in 2009. It's a long time ago, but still feels like yesterday.
No, I bet.
And that time, I was at Well First at that time, and I mean, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. He's only a few years older than me. He actually knew a lot of people. We had very similar friendship groups. We did a lot together, so he knew a lot of the people that I worked with. And it's very, very different, I think, to lose someone young and a sibling as opposed to, a great-grandparent or something like that. And I've got to say, the company were fantastic, and all the people that worked there were really supportive.
You knew him, right?
I knew him. I was off for a couple of weeks. And I remember going back and just being really nervous because everybody knows, and you feel quite fragile, and you don't know if you want to talk about it or not. And what happens in those kind of things, especially he died by suicide, and people don't know what to say. They don't know whether to mention it or not mention it. They don't know whether to. There's all sorts of complications. So it is a difficult subject. So people tend to just avoid you because it's easier to kind of not say anything. I remember being super nervous about going back, and actually everybody was lovely. Some people, did kind of just say, sorry to hear about it, you okay? Some people just give you, a little squeeze on the shoulder, or I don't think I had to make a cup of tea for about 2 months. And actually,
those things really help.
They really help, and I think even just, it doesn't matter if you really know somebody or not, just expressing that, whatever you say. And whether they appreciate it at the time or not, because at the time you're so in it, but actually later you remember how that made you feel and that you were, really supported. And I remember being really hugely overreacting about actually a washing up rota that they'd implemented at work. And the CEO called me in to his office, and he said, this is how long ago it was. He said, go, just take the afternoon off, take someone with you, get a DVD, go and watch film, chill out. Because I'd worked there a while, he knew me, and he obviously understood that this is not how you normally are, and it's a function of what's going on in your life. And I can't remember what we went and watched, but went home for the afternoon, watched something, and small things like that. And then going back the next day, it was just better. And all those really, those kind of things I think are really valuable. And that's not, there wasn't a policy or a procedure that said, in the case of this, send them home and watch film. And I think
human, isn't it?
It's being human, And actually at the time my husband was in the army and he had to go off straight away. So I was,
bless you.
He wasn't there. And I think had I been working in a job that I didn't enjoy with people that maybe I didn't get on with,
it would have been really devastating.
It would have been awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an awful time anyway, but I think working with a team of people that you like, as well as that are good at their jobs, is
kind of feels it's like we always say it here. It's like you're part of some family in a way, isn't it? It's your like a second family, a work family, and I mean
you spend a lot of time at work. Right? You spend a lot of time with those people, so I think working with people that inspire you is an absolute treasure.
So was there a pivotal moment in your career, do you think, that got you to where you are as a CCO today?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably actually leaving my first head of compliance role because, you know, that was a company I'd been at for a long time, and it depends on who you talk to. You know, people say, oh, it looks really bad on your CV that you've been at the same place for a long time, blah, blah, blah. So I left and stayed in compliance and financial services, but switched to asset management, which is, you know, very different to payments and e-money.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of the test. You know, can I actually do this? Am I actually any good at my job, or is it just, you know, everyone's been nice to me for years? And I think for me that was really, you know, that was great. I went and did compliance somewhere else, and I can still do this.
Adaptable.
And I think that's right. I think regulation is regulation. You know, as long as you understand it, you can apply the same principles across the board. So I went into asset management, very, very different, much smaller firm, but that was great as well. Great learning experience there, different parts of financial services. Yeah, it's really good.
Great. And how did you get that role then? Because it's one of those things, right? Especially sort of hearing about our buy side team, should I say? It's like they are looking for, you know, their competitors, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get that job?
It's because at Welfare, we actually had a firm called Welfare Markets which had a MiFID license. So MiFID and EMIR, you know, I'd done that before. So that was in my CV, and that applied, and CAS rules.
Excellent.
Which everybody always laughs about because of my name, obviously. But those, you know, I'd done those things.
So why did you make that decision to go back into payments?
So I took another job between the move back to payments. I wanted a bit more of a challenge, and I took a job at a trade repository in London, so I started commuting back to London again, which again, very, very different part of financial services, and then I'd been there nearly a year, and somebody I know rang me and said, would you ever consider moving back into a, you know, payments company? And I said, absolutely not. No way. And they said, oh well, you should, you know, I think this company is actually really good. No. I said, okay, I'll have a look. So I thought, oh well, I can, you know, I go for an interview. You're not committing to anything at that point, are you? And basically I went for the interview, and then really, really wanted the job. I just, and that was that.
That was that.
Yeah,
and here we
back
are
into
today.
payments.
What advice would you give to somebody who's looking to move into compliance in FinTech?
Okay. I think you can move into it at any point. So whether it's your first job, whether you've been to university, whether it's a career change. I mean, obviously I would say this because I work in compliance, but it is really interesting and very broad. So I think if you know what part of compliance you're interested in, you know, is it financial crime? Is it regulatory? Is it advisory? Do you like the kind of monitoring and surveillance piece? You know, try and see if you can work out what aspect of compliance it is that you like or what you want to do, which I think is quite hard if you don't work somewhere where you can see it. But you can just, you know, go and talk to people, read up on various bits and see, you know, what you like the sound of, to be honest. I think that's a good start, and there's all sorts of things now on the internet. There's loads that you can read for free, listen to, LinkedIn. There's all sorts. So I would say if you can try and work out which aspect you think you like, or fraud. We've done a lot of work on fraud in the last couple of years. I mean, that's super interesting. So I'd say if you can work that out, great. If not, talk to people, read things, try and go into a business and see if you can shadow someone or something like that.
And is there anything in particular that you think would make someone's application stand out as well? I
think if you're applying, I mean, this isn't just compliance, this is any role. If you're applying to you know, a job in a company, make sure that you've done your research on that company. You know, they're going to ask you about it, and they're going to say, why do you want to work here for this job rather than over there for that job? And I think, being able to show that you've done that bit of research is really important. So not compliance specific, just in general.
It's very, very true. We always say it. So do your due diligence before you go in, and know whether they're a crypto exchange or whatever they might be, right? It's really important to be able to know the ins and outs of a company before going in. How would you say that the expectations for compliance are changing?
I think if you compare to sort of 15, 20 years ago, compliance is a lot more visible, which is great. I think the underlying expectations are still the same, trust and integrity, and they're still the same. I think compliance can be quite difficult in terms of you are responsible for making sure a business is complying with the rules. So that can, and you have to do your job. Sometimes you're delivering news that people don't want to hear. You're uncovering problems. You need to report things to the regulator, and nobody wants that in the whole business. But you still have to hold that line and do that. And I don't think that fundamental piece has changed. And I think it's more business wide really. Everything's changing with technology and the speed of change.
Yeah,
it's super quick,
super fast paced, right?
Yeah, I think the fundamentals are still the same.
Okay, brilliant. And how do you in your role, it's such a vast role, right? So it's like, how do you keep up with the upcoming sort of regulations and the business, aligning those with this business objectives?
Well, I luckily have a great team of people that work in the compliance and risk function, but also in the wider business. So they all do their jobs and tell me what I need to know. Number one, I also read lots of newsletters and things like that, keep an eye on what the regulator's doing, but attend events, podcasts. I always bang on about podcasts. I really like podcasts rather than reading it. Yeah, those are the two key bits, but really it's about the people that I work with and the people that the network within the industry and compliance people that I know. We all talk to each other about various different things and check with each other that we're all understanding and interpreting things the same way.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah, really valuable.
Always about sharing information as much as we can, right? As you say, whether that's at round tables or, as you say, just meeting up, right, yourselves. So, yeah, really important. What do you love most about your job? All
the people that I work with, and I don't just mean in compliance, I mean the culture of where I work currently, I really think is phenomenal. I work with great people in every single department.
Well, thank you very much for being part of our Pathway to Success series here today. And I hope to see you very soon.
Great. Thank you.